Guess what? If you're struggling to turn the page on an aspect of your life, it's probably because you're avoiding one of the steps of grief, if not the entire process of grief. Did you hear that? In order for you to fully turn the page on something, maybe it's losing a job, maybe it's, losing an old version of yourself, losing a partner, a relationship, going through a divorce, any kind of a major life experience, in order for you to fully step into the new phase of who you are, it's going to take you going through a process of grief. What is the 5 steps of grief? Well, first you have denial, right? And I know a lot of people. Are you in denial right now? Are you in denial about what's really going on in your life? How you really feel? Are you lying to yourself? Are you lying to others? Right? When someone asks you, how you doing today? And you've gone through you're going through one of the toughest seasons, do you just kind of put a smile on? I'm good. Right? Which I do believe in being positive, even through the negative, but it's also knowing that, the words you use really do impact your life. And so, denial, right? Then you got negotiations, bargaining with yourself, anger, right? Depression. And eventually you get to a place of acceptance. But I was having a pretty interesting conversation with someone yesterday, and it was something that I'm going through in my own way, which is stepping into this highest version of myself. Is that a desire that you have? How many of you out there, comment down below, truly do have a desire within to be the fullest version of what you're capable of being on this planet? To truly stepping into the highest version, to manifesting and bringing out the best version of you that is possible. It is absolutely my goal. It is something that I wake up every single day with an intention to say, hey, I want to be the best version of me. And it's me versus me. I ain't going up against you. But here's the thing is that in this conversation yesterday, it got brought up where it's like, I understand the processing, the emotional wounds, and then working on validating myself, working on redefining who I am, and really visualizing that highest version of myself, which again, that's a great journaling exercise. If you're looking for something to do this weekend, here we are again, right? It's getting that piece of paper and it's truly writing down what is the best version of you? What is that person's daily habits? How do they dress? What kind of social circle do they have? What does their perfect day look like? What is their nutritional plan? What is their exercise routine? What is their self-care routine? Right? How much money do they make? How many hours of sleep do they get? Where do you live? What do you drive? All of this visualization is really powerful stuff. The thing that really stuck with me in this conversation I was having yesterday was the fact that one of the keys that needs to also happen is that we have to take some time to grieve the version of ourselves that isn't that optimal, highest version on the highest timeline. And it's like there's a lot of pain. A lot of us hold ourselves back. We self-sabotage ourselves with micro ways, little ways that will sabotage our own success because of the resistance, because we have to let go of the previous version of ourselves. And maybe that's even the current version of ourselves, as I just saw 444. And I know I can tell you that that's something that I've done, but not as deeply as I believe it needs to be done. And I'm going to be spending even more time really giving myself permission to like grieve and accept, because I've gotten to a place of acceptance. That's the contrast, is there's an acceptance. I've accepted the flawed version of myself. I've accepted the low energy, the low vibrational, the confrontational, the wounded, the broken version of myself. I've fully accepted that person. But I didn't really grieve it to be able to release it. It's literally a death. It's like a funeral. It's releasing it. It's grieving that. What part of yourself do you need to grieve? What version of yourself are you needing to grieve? The addict, right? The self-sabotager, the people pleaser, right? The scarcity mindset, the addictive personality, right? The toxic version of yourself, right? The deadbeat version. I mean, there's a lot of different things that we need to say, hey, not only do we take extreme ownership, but we also grieve that in that process, we need to let that person go freely and then truly embrace this higher timeline, this higher version of ourselves. And that's a place where I'm going to spend a lot of time this weekend. Is I know that as I'm getting closer and closer and closer to truly manifesting and bringing forth this highest version of myself, that I do need to stop and really make peace with the version that isn't that. And really just spend some time consoling that, having compassion and empathy and understanding, right? And that takes curiosity. Those are all positive things. It's not judgmental. There's not a judgment there. I did the best I could when I could, and yet those versions of me no longer suit me because of the journey I'm on, because of the spiritual, energetic evolution that I'm going through to transcending. I'm releasing, right? I'm releasing these old programs that have really held me back, that have caused me a lot of pain, that have kept me in a place that I felt comfortable, because the unknown can oftentimes feel very scary. That uncertainty, that dark void, jumping into the abyss, right? I think a lot of us feel like that's abandoning ourselves, and it's not. It really does take you giving yourself permission to change. Change is a constant, but yet there is change that happens in the subconscious realm, and then there's conscientious, intentional change, which is like it takes a level of discipline every single day, saying, what am I not going to do anymore? Like if you're overeating and eating unhealthy and you need to kind of cut some things out of your diet, like it takes you waking up and having a sense of discipline to say that no longer serves me. And I realized that the reason why I was eating in such an imbalanced way, if that's one of your issues, is because of unhealed trauma, right? That's the root of it. Your cravings are truly triggers that something is making you feel uncomfortable. And until you get to a place where you're willing to first acknowledge that, and also get to the root of where is that coming from? Why do you feel so uncomfortable? Why do you feel so ashamed? What are triggering it? What's the story behind those triggers? What is really at the root of it? What's going on underneath the surface? And that's the whole journey here at Results Kill Excuses. It's like, it's not just about getting in shape and making lots of money, right? Because there's a lot of really athletic, rich people that kill themselves every single day. Let's be honest. We see it. Celebrities killing themselves. You think, man, they have all the fame and fortune, and a lot of us can envy them and wish that we could be just like them. And yet, why are they still getting to a place mentally and emotionally that they can't take the pain anymore? And that's something that I really am grateful to be able to open up this dialogue with you. This is a safe space. This is a safe community for us to really talk about our inner unseen pains. I can't see your pain. You can't see my pain. If I'm hurting right now because of something going on in my life, you can't see it. Like, some of you may think, oh, well, if you know somebody good enough, maybe you can pick up on that energy. But more times than not, we're really, really good masters of deception, right? We know how to put on the mask and put on the smile and just do our best. You really have to be observant and picking up on people's energy to see when someone is down, when there's something going on underneath the surface. And the truth is, we all have that right now. In 2024, coming into 2025, there is not a human being on this planet that isn't feeling some pain at some level of the inner state of being. And yet, how do you heal your emotional pain? My guess is most of us have never even figured that out. Most of us don't even have an understanding as to what that is. It's a mystery. It's a total mystery. How do you heal your pain? Right? We think that it's like, just how do we feel happy? Right? Well, flipping a switch and being more happy does not heal pain, because you have to get to the root of what's causing that emotional pain, what's causing you to grieve, what's causing that. And the grief process, you can't circumvent it. You can't go from denial into acceptance. It'll be false. If you just say, okay, I'm just going to accept it. And I have done this. And I do realize that that's an avoidant reaction. It's a hurry up. I want this to happen now. I'm willing. I can say it. I accept it. I can write it down. I accept it. That's really good stuff to be. It's really important for you to get to a place where you're going to be able to accept some really hard circumstances in your life, right? That's actually part of the magic. But that doesn't mean that you can avoid going through the anger that you're going to feel, right? The bargaining that you're going to feel, the depression. Like, you have to be able to experience that part of the grief process and to really allow for that to release itself. And hopefully you don't have to go to an escape route. And I do highly recommend, as I'm speaking right now, I do highly recommend that if this message is resonating, if you're really, really open to healing your emotional wounds, I really do encourage you to seek professional medical support. Like, as much support as you can put around you, positive support, is going to really help to guide you. And I've talked often about, there's all kinds of pluses and minuses really in everything when you talk about therapy. And, a lot of people have a negative connotation, like it's a weakness or something. It's not, man. Like, the greatest strength, the most courageous warrior act that you can do right now is to ask for help, is to not feel like you have to do it all on your own. But I will preface that with saying, the key to your success is within. You have everything you need within you to be successful, to completely allow yourself permission to heal, to go through the grief, to heal, to reimagine, redefine, and truly step into this higher timeline of who you can be, the highest version of yourself. Whatever you want that to be, whatever you can imagine, whatever vision you have in your heart and in your mind, right? Which also does take you disconnecting, because there's a lot of people that have made their life's decisions based on the input of other people, based on what someone else wanted for your life. And you're sitting there and you're miserable because of it. Because someone else told you to do something and you went and did it. And usually, not in every case, but most people, that usually isn't like the biggest blessing of your life, is to say, yeah, I became something because, my parents or my family kind of pressured me that I needed to go and do that. And it's not really something you love to do. And as somebody that helps a lot of adults and the youth in like higher education, I do believe in things called career interest assessments. You could type it on, you can do a search for a career interest assessment. They're usually free. And if you've never taken that, you should. Because maybe you're in the medical profession right now, or you're in trades. And when you actually do a career interest assessment and you're honest with yourself and you're honest with the answers and the things you're putting in there, you might discover that there's something completely different that you should be doing that would more align with who you are inside. And then the next phase of that is really asking yourself, do you have the courage to make the adjustments, to start shifting towards aligning yourself with your truth, with your gift, with the thing that would really light you up? Do you have enough faith believing that your passion, your desire inside of you, that creative energy, that if you were to start developing that could actually unlock some doors that you never imagined possible, that could provide income and finances for you that you never imagined possible? And that's really, that takes a whole nother level of self-confidence, of self-belief. It's really it's a spiritual evolution to trust yourself, to trust God, to trust the process, and to truly believe in yourself, not seeking someone else's validation and confirmation for what you should or shouldn't be doing, where you should or shouldn't live, right? It all boils down to you. You have the power within you. You have the abilities within you. Everything that you want is within you, right here, right now. Are you willing to accept that? Are you willing to discover it within? You have the strength to overcome your addiction within. There's nothing on the outside. It's all within. Because the root of your addiction, more times than not, in almost in every case, is kind of my belief, Gabor Mate, is it's all rooted in childhood trauma, right? Our addiction was developed as an experience we had that gave us pain relief. Whatever the substance was, whatever the thing was, it gave us relief from our circumstances of pain. And we become so habitual with it that it's like we keep going back, but we never relieve ourselves of pain. We never allow for the pain to be relieved. And if you want to know how to relieve the pain, it's like you got to sit in the pain. You need to learn how to self-soothe. You need to learn the origin of the pain and then go through and sort of grieve that and write it and script about it. And then allow yourself to edit your story. Allow yourself to forgive yourself and to forgive others. That's another big topic, ain't it? Forgiveness. Forgiving yourself. I struggled with that for so many years. To really forgive myself, man, because I had made so many mistakes. I've made so many mistakes. There's still things that haunt me, right? Mistakes I've made as a dad, mistakes I've made as a partner, mistakes I've made as a man, mistakes I've made as a son. I've made every kind of mistake possible, times 10. And so, sure, I carried around a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of embarrassment, a lot of just feeling like a loser and a failure and feeling unredeemable. And yet I can remember for many, 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 many years, my counselors and my therapists telling me, you need to learn how to forgive yourself. And I'm like, learn how to forgive myself? What does that even mean? Sure, I forgive myself. I would just kind of say it like that, sarcastic. I forgive myself. But it wasn't the same as truly. Forgiveness takes a measure of love, like this really powerful love and compassion and empathy and understanding that if you're in the present, which is the only thing we got, right? The future never comes, because if you say, well, next week I'll feel better and I'll start this new program. But see, next week it never comes, because when you're there, it's still the now. And if you think, well, this and that needs to change, it starts now. And the forgiveness process, it's one of those things where it's like, it's having an acceptance. It's accepting that this journey called life is trial and error. None of us have the perfect plan. We have to learn from our mistakes. We all fuck up, right? We all fall down. And it's not how many times you have fallen down. It's not how many times you've messed up. It's how many times can you get up, dust yourself off, and keep going. And having a mindset that I'm going to learn from my mistakes. I'm not going to keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. And how many of you literally do that every single day? Do you think that your drinking alcohol habit, is healthy, or is it like a mistake that you're making every single day? Your smoking habit, your gaming habit, your excessive food caloric intake habit. Do you think that those are mistakes that you're making every single day? Whatever your addiction is, whatever that external thing is that you keep applying to your life. Some of y'all are just addicted to being complacent, listless, right? You're just like, you have no direction. And then you feel like, well, I just need to figure out my purpose. Here's your purpose. Become the best version of you. Become the best version of you. Well, what does that mean? That starts with self-care. Are you taking care of yourself? Right? Your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, and your physical health. The fifth one would be financial health, but it starts in the mind. What are you doing to make sure that you have a healthy, strong mind? Clearly adding and ingesting and inhaling different substances is going to pollute and distort your mind. You need to clear your mind. That is the first phase of mental health, is having a clear, sober mind. Emotional health. It's understanding that it's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to feel angry or fearful. Whatever emotions you have are valid. So emotional health is not suppressing those and avoiding those uncomfortable emotions. It's getting to the root and telling yourself the story. Where did this come from? When did I start to teach myself that feeling this way is a bad thing, and I need to avoid it, and I need to run from it, and I need to hide from it, versus sitting there with yourself, doing some breath work, talking about it, understanding that what happened to you is valid and how you feel is valid, but you get to choose. You get to choose whether or not it holds power over you. That is the key. You can feel like shit, but are you going to give the feeling the power over your life, that because you feel that way every single day, that now you are stuck? Your life is listless. You're not going anywhere. You're settling. You're emotionally unavailable because you literally can't even sit within your own emotions. So that's your emotional health, how to heal that. Then you have your spiritual health. And that's a big thing. I think a lot of people get really uncomfortable for a lot of the reasons. There's a lot of chaos in spirituality, and from the religions to just false prophets and all this other stuff. It's really caused a lot of division inside of us, inside of our cultures. But spiritual health is really just knowing that my belief is there is a God, and I want to have the absolute best relationship possible directly with God. Me, God, no one else in between. That's the number one thing for me. And in the spiritual, you start to believe in the energetic, positive energy, negative energy, right? That we're all connected, right? Love is the binding force that brings us all together. And then there's the physical. It's taking care of your body. It's knowing that what you eat is going to be how you feel the next day. You're going to, and it's all interconnected. So you got to align those 4 aspects of your health. That's how you truly know if you're taking care of yourself. Which is a part of showing the fact that you're past the grieving process. And I guess that kind of puts the bow on this whole message, is that if you're stuck in a place of life where you just don't feel like you're getting any traction, it's because you're in denial that you need to grieve something and allow the grief process to unfold. And if you need some help with that, reach out to me, right? I would love to spend 90 minutes with you going over a strategy session to try and help you see some of the light that's in front of you to step through. resultskillexcuses@gmail.com. Beyond that, if you're willing to start investing some time in your own self-development, self-improvement, self-mastery, it starts with self-discovery. Because again, a lot of us, we're in denial of who we are. Type in Results Kill Excuses into your app store, and right there, free of charge, is 25 self-discovery lessons packed into 5 courses. Courses to help you improve your relationships, courses to help you really put a stake in the ground, draw a line in the sand, saying enough's enough, I'm breaking up with my addictions. Pick whichever one you want, right? Identifying that, yeah, sure, we all got problems, but guess what? We got positive solutions for every single one. All of our problems have a positive solution. Don't let your problems crush you mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Face your problems, face your fears. And in these courses, you're going to have me being a lot more specific about some of these key topics. If you're holding yourself back, set yourself free. There's a great course, 5 lessons on that too. So thank you again for those of you that have been listening to the message, those of you that take the time to connect by commenting. I can't thank you enough. Please, please, please share the message, like it, and show up. Show up for yourself this weekend. Show up for yourself today. Whenever you're hearing this message, it's time to show up. The time is right now. This is all we have. You have now. Start making decisions and then start taking action. I love you guys. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, come on now, it wouldn't be worth it. Greg's out.